Tell me, Darrow, do you even know how much they've stolen from you? It's something in her tone. What do you mean? Here's what I mean. She jams a series of orders into the hollow cube, and an image appears of Lycos' mind. My blood goes cold. The recording of Eo's death, The one we pirated and broadcast? My heart thuds in my chest. It wasn't complete. She presses play, and the room around us becomes the mine. We're part of the three-dimensional hollow. It's the raw footage, not the stuff on the newsreels, not the stuff I've seen 100 times. It shows the hanging without a soundtrack. Hello, Rusters. Hello. It's been a minute. We're back finally. I hope everyone had a great holiday, great Thanksgiving for those living in the U.S., everyone else around the world. I hope you had a great Thursday, the other Thursday. Cullen and I have took a little break off, but we're diving back into this, and we are the Sons of Ares. Today, I'm going to be a Dragoon of the 13th Legion.
Oh.
And with me, as always, Cullen, my ducks, and Quester, which is an Ares official whose main role is to question and torture any combatant of the Republic. How are you, my good man?
I am well. How about yourself?
Oh, good. I'm good. Like I said, well, maybe we'll see if we're a little rusty. It's been a minute, but now we're getting back into the swing of things. So, and we'll talk about it more on your chapter, but we have some cool episodes coming up. So,
yes, we do.
Tease
Tease the tease, baby. All right. What chapter are we diving into?
Is chapter 9, The Darkness. Now, before we jump into that, it's the Green Death talk. These are recaps that we do that may contain spoilers, headcanon, spit tubes, vulgar language, you name it. Cullen and myself pretend to be adults half the time, and we discuss events that may be an issue for some. So please, listeners, beware. We are only here because of Pierce Brown creating this amazing society with all of its ups and downs and making this awesome imaginary world. So we always salute to you, Howler 1. There was some recent events going on at the Nexus Con and Howler Games. So it seemed like a lot of people got to go and had a lot of fun. They got to play against Pierce Brown and in certain arcade games and got more signed paperwork and posters and stuff from them. So, I don't know if you saw much of those videos and stuff posted on TikTok or Instagram.
I did. To be honest, I feel like maybe next year we should make the trek out and do it ourselves. If they do it again.
Yeah.
Then maybe next year we should try and do a show at the event.
Yeah, I'm down 100%. We'll plan it out, and then if any of our listeners think it's a great idea, send us a tight beam and see if we can convince ourselves to go. And
maybe we do a road trip and stop at a couple of different howlers along the way to finally meet some of the people that we've engaged with over the last 5 months now.
Hell yeah.
I don't know. It's an idea. It's populating in the world, in my brain.
Yeah, well, I know for a fact my wife would be like, "Well, I'm coming. You can't go by yourself." So she would be my shadow dagger.
Well, maybe we bring both of the lovely brides.
Hell
throw
yeah,
them in the camper.
Yes. All right, there. Good excuse to use my my new camper. All right. So on that note, we shall go to the Askamani attack. Cullen, we have some questions here.
All right.
Now is a slight tease, a tribute to an upcoming episode, a very big and pivotal chapter. We are talking about the Sovereign. For the moment, the Sovereign reigns supreme. Octavia Au Loon. Cullen, what is the family Loon's motto?
Oh, shit.
Let's go.
You got me on that one. I know I just saw it, but nope, I'm not pulling anything.
Let's see. Lux ex tenebris, which means light from darkness.
Yep.
So, when Octavia overthrew her father as sovereign, she did so with the help of who? Specifically, there's one man.
Nero O. Augustus.
Yes, it was Nero. Now, just a little fun fact, Octavia beheaded her father and presented his head to the Senate to confirm her rule. Do you think, now we don't really have to dive into this too much, do you think this was something she planned to repeat at the gala towards a certain specific someone in front of everyone to again assert her rule? I don't know, little headcanon.
I don't know. I mean,
Because she shut down the ships. She said everyone couldn't have retainers and bodyguards. She wanted to do something. There was something that was going to happen for the sixth course, which was going to be to die for. Something was planned.
Yeah.
And
I think she was going to. I don't think she was going to do it like remove somebody's head and put it in front of the Senate.
No, in front of everyone
essentially,
there.
Yeah, it essentially serves the same function.
Yeah.
It basically just reinforces to everybody there that she is the law.
And what I like is, so she used Nero's help to overthrow her father. And as we will kind of dive in, spoilers for anyone who doesn't know, Nero obviously was the one that helped her overthrow her father, but Nero and her have basically been on the outs. They've been against one another. Nero's been stealing profits and kind of becoming more powerful on Mars. And so as her way to kind of, in my mind, be like, he helped me behead my father and make me rule, I'm going to show everyone in front, he's not an ally. I'll behead him and, present it to everybody to remind you that I rule, in a sense.
Yeah, I think that was the point for sure, was to basically achieve two goals, remove a potential threat and a competitor for power, and at the same time show everybody that she still has it, that she's still the dominant power within the society. As we shall see, it didn't really work out that way.
No.
But maybe we should work our way up to that.
Well, it came to me on that little factoid, and I thought maybe this is what she was planning.
I think you're right. I definitely think that's, and there's a little red wedding aspect to it where it's like, this is the most dramatic fashion that you could possibly do it.
Exactly. This is the best time. You have everyone there in front to show, prove your dominance. I think it's, and how she played all the other pieces around her to make it work. And the reason I'm kind of bringing it up now is I thought of this. We have some cool stuff coming up, and it's already kind of been shot and recorded. So it's like, well, this is kind of added into it. Kind of throw
you're doing a very smart podcaster thing where you're like kind of retrofitting our current recording so that it matches up with the upcoming one that's already done.
Yeah.
So see, like you're a fucking pro, man.
I'm trying. Don't call me a pro. All right. If everyone disagree in a comment, just give us 5 stars. That'd be sweet.
Just give us 5 stars. Which, by the way, it is crazy. We have like 8 reviews.
Yep.
And we have 8 ratings. So 8 5 stars, but no reviews. Nobody's written a review.
Oh. Well, I mean,
not that I'm asking for one. We don't care. It's just, it's weird to me that somebody would go in and rate it without reviewing it.
Write a review and just say how bad Cullen's voice is, so then we can knock him down a little bit, but still give 5 stars.
My big fat head needs to be deflated.
Yes. So coming to that, we have the howl of appreciation, and this week I want to send a howl of appreciation to my eldest brother, David. There's been many times or many things I've learned throughout my life that I've learned, but most of them were amendments to the groundwork of things that I learned from you growing up. You've always been an inspiration, and you continue to do so every day. You specifically, now bringing it back to the book world and podcasting, you showed me a great series years ago that I very much look forward to picking apart, because Disney Plus is now recreating the Aragon Inheritance Cycles series. Did you ever read those, Colin?
Really?
Yeah, that's why I saw.
Yeah, I read them. I
remember the movie they made?
Yeah, Jeremy Irons, right?
Yeah, I love Jeremy Irons and I always forget his name.
Now he's got a voice. I mean, he's
Yes.
got one of the great voices of all time. Long live
I
the
think he's
king. I mean, just a
underappreciated.
great scar.
Yep. And
Yeah, totally
Malkovich.
underappreciated for sure. And Malkovich is great for sure.
Yes. I think the rest of
Yeah.
the movie was kind of a dud. They cut out a lot of the books, and I still liked it, but it didn't hit the mark. But I guess Disney Plus they've approved and are plans to recreate it into a show.
Okay,
So
I can
a
see
mini
that.
series or a show, and I'm excited. Again, I want to pick that apart. I might have to reread the books, but for a kid who I think was 17 at the time when he wrote the first book, like it's an impressive series, and I think some people should give it a chance if you like fantasy and
It's
that
like
type.
high fantasy. You
Yeah.
know, it's dragons and all that, but I do remember enjoying it when I was younger. I didn't realize David was the introductory point for that series for you.
Yeah, he was the one presented it to me, and then actually, I think the movie was just showing trailers or talks of making the movie, and he was like, "Well, that's a book. I have it, and you should check it out." And I dove into it before the movie, and then that's when I realized I was a little disappointed in how the movie turned out. But I'm curious to see if the show ends up being kind of like a dud like the movie, or if it's going to be pretty sweet. So, on that note, Cullen, are we prime?
We are prime, my goodman. Prime indeed.
Register. All right. Chapter 9, The Darkness. My quote is good men die first. The bomb Evie has activated has liquefied Adrius's obsidian. The device blossoms outward, consuming everything in its path, spilling like mercury before it begins to pull back in on itself, sucking everything in like a black hole before detonating. With the use of his grav boots, Darrow managed to sweep up Adrius by his jacket and burst straight through the wall into the street and collide into an opposite building. I'm hoping during this he used Adrius to blunt his impact a little bit. Adrius is unconscious and burned but alive. Darrow waits for the Jackal's support team to arrive and relieve him of his payload. Using the datapad that Darrow stole from Evie's Red, he hacked and pulled up the coordinates history, bringing him to an old abandoned factory 400 kilometers from the Citadel. Assuming it is a safe house for the Sons, he approaches, slams on the door, goes to a knee, and puts his hands on his head. After everyone inside stops shitting themselves, the door opens and cloaked individuals approach. They handcuff him and place a bag over his head, bringing him through the factory and down an old lift until he hears music. It's at this point he hears familiar voices. Evie's, Mickey's, other Reds. Taking a nanosecond, he breaks from the restraints just as Evie jumps at him like a little girl, screaming for joy. Darrow is not pleased. He expresses his frustration towards Evie in, let's say, not a subtle way, slamming her against a wall and screaming at her for all the countless lives she has just taken. He starts to realize the treatment Mickey has been receiving in his absence, then demands to see Dancer. Instead, he is greeted with Harmony, who informs him of more bad news. Dancer is dead. In Dancer's absence, it appears Harmony's command consists of bombing anything and everything. Any argument Darrow brings is immediately shut down and dismissed. Harmony cares not for what Darrow has learned, and I'm convinced Harmony has no idea at all what Darrow has been doing the last couple of years. They argue to the point where I was confident there would be bloodshed between them. Darrow has hit his limit and demands to speak to Ares now. Harmony shuns Evie and Mickey out of the room as she admits to Darrow that not even she has met with Ares, not even once. But according to her, she has his orders, his plan, quote unquote. 400 bombings, 600 assaults on weapons depots, government facilities, electric companies, communication grids. Years of planning, all to be timed and coordinated after a particular event. In 3 days' time, at the conclusion of the summit, aka the gala, according to Harmony, Darrow is to place a bomb in the heart of the citadel, among all the governors, senators, praetors, imperators, judiciaries. I'm surprised I said all those correctly.
You did.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
All the noble houses and the sovereign herself. He is to strike the blow where they, the sons of Ares and the Reds, cannot. Once that is complete, the rest of the bombings, coordinated between Lune and Mars, will go off. Darrow, of course, refuses. He believes this can't be Ares' plan, can it? Using the last card Harmony has to play, she opens the holocube's recording of Eo's death, the raw footage, with the ability to rewind or fast forward, enhance or slow. We learn of what Io said to Dio before she was hung. She is with child. Now, Cullen, my Goodman, starting where I just ended, we kind of talked about this in the first book, but did you completely forgot about this hidden little secret that Io was hiding, correct? That she was pregnant?
I did, yeah. I
Yeah.
did, for sure.
I know when it came to it, and when Darrow or Io was up there about to be hung, and she called up her sister instead of her husband, I was like, this is confusing. Dio's wail, screaming and crying. What was it that a wife couldn't tell her husband before she was killed? I always kind of had in the back of my mind, okay, she's probably pregnant. And then I completely forgot about it until we got to this point in the book. And then I was like, ooh, I wonder if this is when it gets brought up. And we do realize that, yes, Io, at some point, I don't know how far along, she was pregnant before she was killed.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know if it's intentionally written this way, or if it was just kind of a happy accident, but like in the moment of Eo's execution, I don't think there's any other way that you could interpret that sequence other than her being pregnant.
Yeah.
Unless there's something so out of bounds, like she says, I never loved him, or I was sleeping with his brother, or, something crazy that wouldn't make logical sense and would be kind of contradictory to the character and the themes and everything at play. So I think it was not there was no deceptive angle here for what was happening. I think Pierce Brown probably is okay that you deduce the fact that she's pregnant here. But what he then does is he doesn't really.
Yeah, he lets it bury.
I think there's maybe 1 or 2 references from that scene to this where he says something about her other secret, or what couldn't she have told me? And it's more
very
of like
vague.
One vague line, very quickly written. And then when it comes here, it's like, oh shit, I forgot about that.
Yep.
And holy shit, that's brutal.
It's powerful.
Brutal.
And that's something Pierce does do very well. And some people give him crap for it, or not crap, but they criticize a little bit and how his writing style is. I kind of like how he just has these little moments that kind of pop up and you're like, oh shit, that's what they were talking about 2 books ago. And you're surprised by it. It keeps you like wrapped up and continuing to read. But I guess some people feel like they get tricked or duped, or I don't know. To each their own.
There's only one instance where and when we get there, I'll dive into it, but there's one time where I think that there's some
trickery,
credence to that. Not necessarily trickery, but kind of like almost a lie by omission.
Which book? Just say which book.
Morningstar.
All right, I think I know which one you're referencing.
If it's a big one, it's like the big one.
It is.
And it feels very much like there was nothing to let us know that was happening.
No.
And it
compounded his reactions, his feelings, and it's chapter after chapter, and you're like, this is real. But yeah, is that what we're talking about?
We'll get there.
Yeah,
I think so. We'll get there.
All right, so let's say now to the chapter. First off, how easy Harmony continues to manipulate Darrow. That's what I have in this entire chapter. Darrow, before bringing Darrow to the Suns, Darrow is in a vulnerable state. He lost his wife. He's strapped to a table, and Harmony's cleaning his wounds, and she uses the time to like dig into his flesh to kind of make him, show how much power she has over him, and that she likes to belittle him and insert her dominance. And this kind of continues on in this chapter. Darrow rekindles back with the Suns, and Harmony always appears to have these comments or moments where she says these things and it completely just shuts him down and makes him question everything. Her judgment on Darrow acting like he's been off gallivanting with the Golds like a pixie and making it seem like he's forgotten his true purpose. And when he finds a moment to shun her, to say no to her demands, then she pulls out this tragic realization and uses Eo's death and pregnancy basically for her own means or the Sons of Ares means, which is another reason why I very much dislike Harmony. And she continues this in the future, and she becomes more dislikable.
I mean, she becomes about as dislikable a character as you can possibly fucking have.
Yeah. I for some reason always forget about that moment, coming up, a books away, where it was like, oh crap, that happened.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that.
There really isn't. And I don't care that your children died from radiation sickness caused by the societal structure and the way things are, which actually tells you how bad of a person you have to be that you can have a family destroyed by radiation sickness and it doesn't give you any sympathy points.
No. Yeah. It's almost like, well, I'm glad. No, I don't even want to say.
I mean,
she's a horrible person. She earns
this is
that
terrible
title.
too. She is the great betrayer. She's betraying Dancer. She's betraying Darrow. She's weaponizing Eo's the secret
moment.
She's weaponizing Eo's betrayal of Darrow.
Yeah. For her own means.
And she's using it to convince Darrow to betray himself and Dancer and Ares. And getting him to do it is betraying Mustang and all the Golds that he's friends with and loves, to whatever degree he's at this point in those relationships. But still, like, she is a real monster.
Yeah.
Just as bad as Nero or Octavia or any of the high colors.
True. Good point. It's not just Golds that are monsters. That's a valid point. So I'm fascinated in the beginning of this chapter, at the end of last chapter as well, is this bomb that Evie actually used at the Lost Weed Den. So it's a small enough device that she's able to conceal and hide at the table. But when it activates, it spreads like mercury and then becomes a black hole, sucking everything into itself before it finally detonates. Like, that's insane. I know it's a sci-fi book and it's kind of how creative this thing can turn out, but there's this thing where there's something called like a kill radius, and it's every bomb, every grenade has like a certified kill radius where it's guaranteed casualties, guaranteed death at this point, and then outside of that kill radius, it's 60, 40, 50, 60%, casualty. And then it lessens as you're further going out. As this bomb device works, it spreads, it creates a black hole, so it pulls everything into that kill radius, and then it uses those objects as projectiles to then double the kill radius again. It's creepy if that ever gets built or used.
I mean, it sounds like a very effective anti-personnel weapon.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
if you were able to plant a mine, or like a backpack bomb like that in a crowd or in a stadium or something.
Yeah.
It would be terribly effective.
Yeah. So the closest thing I can remember in the infantry, we had this thing called a SMAW rocket, which the assaultmen You've met Jake. Jake was the assaultman
Yeah.
on our team, and it's basically a bazooka, but it's cut in half. So one guy's always carrying the control board and the front tube, and then you mount the rocket to the back, and it's loud, loud as hell. But when it fires off, it sounds like an explosion right away, and that's just it shooting through the tube. And what we used to do is there was a slug that was more of a solid round. It would punch through an object or building or tank, and then another team would shoot the explosive round behind it. So it almost created this first impact that created a suction inward, and then the second impact of the same hole would then cause that X-word explosion. And it kind of made me think of that in this black hole bomb used, but technology it's a scary bitch.
Well, I mean, that's essentially what a depleted uranium shell does. Is like if when it's fired from a tank at another tank, the superheated forced air that's condensed in front of the round,
yes,
basically melts the armor of the enemy or the targeted vehicle, creating a hole, and then the shell punches through and explodes on the interior. But I mean, this is like the mercury kind of seeping out is very interesting.
Yeah.
To me. I don't know. I wonder if this is a literal description of what Darrow's seeing, or if this is him just relaying what it felt like, or, what it looked like. If it's actually just, it exploded and it just felt like the air kind of
sucked in, or
superheated air floated out and then everything sucked back in to the point of the explosion. I don't know, but it is definitely, I wouldn't want to be inside that bar.
No,
and there are not many bars that I've ever said I don't want to be inside of.
That's true. I've been to quite a few dive bars with you, and there's some of them are like, I said I didn't want to be in there, but you're like, I love it. This is my backyard.
It's my favorite place.
Yeah, I'm here every Tuesday. So, yeah, I never thought I'd be touching on some form of weapon in these chapter recaps, but that kind of freaked me out and reminded me of some other stuff. Yeah. Now, a discussion point that I go over in this chapter is the change of Evie. As Darrow says, no longer the seductress Rose from the tavern. She throws herself into me like a little girl, greeting a long-lost uncle. Her hands linger on my waist as she eventually pulls back and stares into my golden eyes with her pink ones. Despite her giggling, she's all sensuality and beauty, with willowy arms and a slow, intimate smile that echoes none of the grief killing nearly 200 people should mark her with. The winged girl has become a carrion bird, and she doesn't seem to have noticed. I wonder if she'd smile so broadly if she had to kill all those people with a knife. How easy we make mass murder. So I'm glad Darrow points this out. I did, and I still do, pity Evie. She's twisted. She's been through hell. Pink's, we've touched on it. We may do a future episode on certain colors and aspects and dive deep into the world of Pink's specifically, but she's been through fucking hell. And nothing but pain. But I feel like she was very easily brainwashed by Harmony. It was almost, was it better for her to stay with Mickey under that? I guess she was still a slave. She had their fake wings. She couldn't fly. Mickey was like basically using her as a prop, or being taken away from Mickey, given to Harmony, and being brainwashed into killing 200 people for 1 gold, and then being giddy as a clam immediately an hour later as if nothing happened. Like, she's gone through some shit. She needs some counseling.
I mean, everybody needs counseling.
Yeah.
Not that we have BetterHelp as an advertiser, but everybody should have counseling. Everybody needs therapy. And I think the danger thing for me is like, would it be better to be, it's like the question for Darrow and Io. Would it be better for them to have remained slaves but happy in their blissful ignorance and die young but fulfilled with love? Or, is it better that they go the route that they've gone? I don't know. I do know that Evie is exactly the way that the worlds have made her.
Yeah.
You know, just like Harmony, just like all these characters, they are the way that the worlds have made them.
Cause and effect.
It's the ones that have taken active decisions and steps to be more than what the worlds have made them that I think are the compelling, or those are the good guys, right? Like the Kavixes of the world eventually choose actively to be different than what they have been made by the world.
Yeah.
And then it's the ones that are like Harmony who enjoy or not maybe enjoy, but dwell on what the worlds have made them and stay at that level of
Yeah, they never
anger and
progress.
hate
They never
and
grow.
revenge.
She never
And
will.
it's also very difficult, you know, when you are a powerless sex slave
Yeah.
and then somebody comes up to you and puts a gun in your hand and says, hey, this thing, this hunk of metal, that makes you powerful.
Yeah.
You are now powerful and you've never been powerful before. I don't know anybody who wouldn't have their head turned with such immediate gratification.
So then do you trust her with this newfound power and imagine she
No.
might relinquish it at some point? Or do you have to come
No.
back in later and be like, I need to take this back from you now because you don't have a limit? You know, that's what
Yeah.
Harmony needed.
Exactly. And I think Evie learning at the knee of Harmony is a recipe for disaster.
100%.
Because I think Evie is also a child.
Yes.
You know, whatever it is, she's working at the maturity level of a child. And I think that this would be likely lead to her death at some point.
True.
Whether Harmony kills her or she accidentally kills herself on a mission or gets herself caught or whatever. I don't think it's a good teaming up of characters.
As we learn, I didn't touch on this quote exactly in this chapter, but it's still powerful nonetheless, where Darrow calls out Harmony and is like, did you tell her that she was meant to die in this mission? She was supposed to die. She was supposed to basically be with Adrius, plant the bomb on him, and be killed in this. It was a suicide mission. And Harmony just blatantly was like, she wouldn't understand it. You know, like, she just justifies it as like, you know, I didn't need to tell her. She's not like us. It's like, you're a bitch.
Yeah, she sucks. There's a line, I forget where, in what book, but at some point Darrow is, and maybe it's in like Iron Gold, but Darrow's reflecting about the nature of war and how it's not bad because it makes men monsters. It's bad because it makes men machines. And that it's all just this kind of calculating arithmetic of, you know, equipment and logistics and people and numbers. And that's Harmony lives in that world where people, she's a machine of the rebellion, of the rising.
Yes.
And she's just working a calculator, and Evie is a number who can be expended however it best would bring down, and not bring down the golds, but kill the golds.
Yeah.
That's Harmony's goal.
Yeah.
Here.
Just ultimate death. And then this is a quote from that interaction to help explain your point. Darrow says, never mind the strategy of it. Never mind you're playing with a sleeping dragon. Evie herself killed over 100 low colors just hours ago. They weren't reds, Harmony says, and then adds an amazingly insincere afterthought, or pinks. Yes, there were. Then their sacrifice will be remembered. It's like your argument. It's like, no, there was nobody there. Yeah, there was. Here's proof. Well, they'll be remembered. It's like, you don't give a shit. You're just arguing for the sake of arguing.
Here's my question for you.
Let's go.
There are plenty of people who have actually existed in various situations like this, whether it's the French resistance, the Polish resistance, the American Revolution, the French Revolution, any number of situations like this, the Vietnamese, where you had
Collateral
people
damage.
who really were very much like Harmony, who were like, that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It's a numbers game, and we just need to kill more of them than they can kill of us. And however many of our people die, it does not matter. We are on mission, no matter what.
So what's the question? Do I agree with it or not?
So my question: do you think that that's? Do you think that Harmony serves a purpose? That the Rising needs people that are like Harmony, who see it purely a black and white, like math equation to just be worked until it's solved.
Harmony is Atlas. It's all about just striking fear.
Oh, that's a great.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. That's a good connection there.
And I don't agree with it. I feel like strategically, battle for battle, army versus army, occupation versus occupation, I don't believe in just mass murdering the populace. Doesn't help. I mean, I guess, yeah, you could say maybe it would help if you're literally wiping out the entire cities and all that other crap. That doesn't make it justified. That doesn't make it moral, and I don't agree with it. But you need to attack military structures, advancements, other governments that you're going after and trying to fix and control. You can't just willy-nilly blow innocents. But, nope, that's all I'm saying. What do you think?
No, I think that that's a good connection that we should unwind when we get to Atlas.
I know. I was going to say, because Atlas is, I also understand, I was going to say, but I understand Atlas's mindset and what he does.
Well, if you believe him, like if you believe that his
True.
ultimate goal is to just bring back the stability of the society, and that by its very
Through
nature
fear.
but by its nature will mean that less people will die. Less people will have horrific, short, mean little lives. They will then, I don't know.
This brings back the atomic bomb question or the stuff we did with Hail Reaper. And it's like, well, how important is that your military unit? How important is that city? And everything has to be weighed and measured.
Well, and there's a guy named Bomber Harris from World War II, who was the British, he was a commander of the British Air Force. And they called him Bomber Harris because his motto was that you just bomb them indiscriminately, bomb the cities, and eventually the Germans will come to the table and demand peace.
Yeah.
And that theory evolves over the last 80 years into basically what both sides are planning with their nuclear arsenals. Like, if the United States and Russia ever went to a shooting war, the goal would just be to wipe away the population centers,
civilians.
because there's no other target of value that is high enough to keep these two sides from using those weapons. Because if you were to say, like, well, if I want to just hit your tank depot, that doesn't equal using nuclear force. So if I'm going to use nuclear force, then I have to use it on the highest value target. But the highest value target is not going to be the military, because I can take out every tank depot Russia has. They're not going to come to the peace talks because of that.
Wouldn't it just be like the government centers, the parliaments, the government, the senates, the whatever Moscow has, dictatorship? Wouldn't it be those are the highest valued targets instead of the population centers?
No, because if Putin, whoever is in charge after the Kremlin is struck, someone is going to come up and say, I'm now the head of the government.
Okay, so you're saying
we're going to continue fighting.
So if you bomb the people and then the people end up realizing they're going to keep bombing us, and they go and kill their own leadership just to be like, make it stop?
I mean, kind of, yeah.
No. This is ugly.
Ugly stuff.
Yeah.
Ugly stuff. But that's what I think, it's informative to peel back some of these layers.
100%.
In terms of like what Harmony is attempting to do is she is attempting to to escalate to de-escalate, but really not, because her plan is not to de-escalate.
No.
Her whole, and that's where I think her and Atlas diverge, is that Harmony does not have a strategy. She has a plan.
Well, a small strategy where to make them cluster, and so I can blow up more.
Well, I mean, that's a tactic. Her strategy is just to make them feel pain.
Yes.
And she has a plan to make them feel pain, but that's not really a strategy.
Nothing.
If you think of a strategy as a long-term, step-by-step path towards an end result in which you can theoretically live and exist and be benefited by what you've done. There's nothing like that here. A plan does not make a strategy, and a strategy without a plan is nothing. So you have to have both elements in play. And that's where Atlas actually, he's got a plan, a very, very extensive and detailed plan.
Well,
and then his strategy is that end goal, and the two are working in concert, which is why he's like,
well, that's why he is the way he is.
To beat.
Yeah, that's why he's so good at being Atlas. He's got it all figured out to a point. So to continue on, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for good old Darrow. Darrow states, "Because my mission is complicated, I need him. Where is Dancer? Who is in charge here? Mickey? I am. Harmony. Harmony, it's good to see you. I need to debrief. There's so much to say. I can't even think where to begin. Then I notice the glance she gives Evie. Harmony, where is Dancer? Dancer is dead, Darrow." Which then kind of leads to Darrow complaining that they know nothing. I can barely conceive of what they must think of me. They have such small perspectives on what I've done, on what I've become. I thought there was a plan, a long, large reason for all my toil, but there was nothing. I know that now. Even Dancer was just waiting to see what happened, hoping. So in this chapter, the main gist of it is Darrow, after years of silence, no communications with the Sons, finally meets back up. You know, he's gone through hell. He's gone through surgeries, carved into this perfect being, well, perfect-ish being. He doesn't have Cassius's beautiful chin, but goes through the Institute, and then the fight through the Academy, and then failure of that, and now all this, and to meet back up with the Sons, and then come to realize the one that's supposed to give you the answers, the contact that you're supposed to be in with, is also dead. Like, does Darrow ever... Plus, he pushed away, like, a new love interest with Mustang. It's like, does this guy ever catch a fucking win in this series? At least in the first two books, it doesn't really seem like he does as of yet.
No, I don't think he does.
No, even after 6, maybe 7 books. Like, does he ever get a win? Small victories, but a win?
Small W wins, you know? Although, I don't know, what's your scale? Like, he's eventually, well, I mean, he corralled a Mustang. He creates his own found family, and he... Yeah.
But to me, my scale, like, there's no full-on wins. There's no glorious ending in the society. The whole solar system's in peace and all that crap. But I always believe in small victories. I always believe in the little W's. And you make life what you make of it. And if that's what you need, that's what I need in life. And it's like, I'm happy. I'm content. I love my life. I have these small victories along the way. I don't need giant wins. I don't know if you're similar or not.
I absolutely. I mean, wins beget wins, right?
Yeah.
Like, the little ones build on themselves until they become big ones. However, the problem with Darrow is he's not you or I. You know, a win for you or I is like, oh, wow, I got everything on my checklist done today.
Yeah.
And I went to bed at an appropriate hour and woke up at an appropriate hour. Great. These are wins. For Darrow, it's like, you know, to cross streams here, he's playing the Game of Thrones, and you either win or you die. So like,
others around you die, you know?
Exactly. So like, he's got, the stakes are just so much bigger that I would, And also, there's an element of, I think we're kind of masochistic
Hmm.
or sadist in that we all are listening and talking about these books and reading these books because we love that Darrow is constantly getting his dick kicked in.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
No way around it. He's basically just
That's a good way to put it, as sadist.
he's basically our sub,
Yeah.
and we're all just reading because we're just so excited for the next way that Pierce Brown can take a dagger and dig it into this man's back and twist it, and then maybe dig his way out.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the payoffs of when he does get out of these traps and out of these holes is so much more better because of all the suffering that went in beforehand.
How painful would it be to read these books without having that mindset, that sadistic, internal?
I do believe those are the people who don't
Get it?
finish the books,
Yeah.
or like just don't really get it. They're the ones that don't want their main character to suffer and don't want all the other people to have consequences and love plot armor, you know? And I'm not that reader at all.
So I think one of the last quotes I have of this chapter was one of Darrow's. He says, "And I thought the golds were broken. We're all just wounded souls stumbling about in the dark, desperately trying to stitch ourselves together, hoping to fill the holes they've ripped in us. Io kept me from this end. Without her, I'd be like them, lost." Now, all the time, it can relate it to life. Sometimes I feel like a wounded soul trying to stitch and repair myself and what's broken. But my question is, was Io really keeping him from this end? I always pictured Io, she was the one telling him to pick the thumper up. She was the one telling him to fight back against those grays. You know, before her eventual death, would she be more on the side of Darrow, or is she more leaning towards like a harmony, which is like pick up arms and fight back? I don't know.
That's a great question. The next time we have like a round table, we should talk about that because I think that's a good question. I actually think she'd probably be like a harmony.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think she was like the one keeping him. You know, she thought of a better world, not a bloodier one. I don't know. I think she gave her life up. She gave knowingly her unborn child because she knew it would blow up and turn into a more powerful statement. Like she is a fighter. I think she would have been more Harmony-esque, not Harmony full on, because nobody should be like that. But
well, I think it all depends on who her mentor would have been. You know, if it was Dancer that got to her and turned her into an agent or force of the Rising, then yeah, maybe she's a more nuanced, measured revolutionary. If Harmony does, then it's all bets are up because I think she has the ability to be either one.
yes.
Io could have been a nurtured philosophical freedom fighter, or she could have been a bloody terror,
berserker.
And you know, because she's not afraid of violence.
No,
she grew up in a hard world, surrounded by hard truths, and they made her harder and brittle, and that eventually broke her. Yeah, well, I mean, in the sense that it cost her life.
yes, yeah.
Not,
I don't think it solidified her
break
decision. Yeah,
yes, it didn't break her will, but it broke her life, I guess.
I'd love to do a round table and we break into that more because I feel like I want to hear from other people that think that no, she would have been more on the Darrow side and the true Ares side.
Well, I would love. What I would like to do is get the Howler Pod, Hail Reaper, and Fade gang, and get them all to join one of these, and we just throw questions up like chum in the water, and see what happens.
See what? Yeah, hell yeah, we'll make
that
work.
Be fun.
Everyone's been awesome. By the way, all these we've spoken with each and every one of them, and they're all very cool people. And we've done some stuff with some of them, and we want to do more and do some with the others. And everyone's awesome. And I just wanted to give that random shout out. So I love that idea. I hope they
I
do
think
too.
that would be a good thing to do after we're done with Golden Sun.
Nice. All right. So now we dive into the juice of the chapter, which is Harmony telling Darrow that he only has one option: follow Ares' bomb plan. And she uses the fact that Darrow is a mutant. He's not a red anymore. He has no home left to go to. And once that is not enough to manipulate him into choosing to follow this plan, she shows him the hologram where Io admits that she's pregnant, just to finish him off. Her mastercraft manipulation skills. But my question is, was this really Ares' plot? Or is this just Harmony's plot? So the reason I ask it is because I don't think Harmony has the capability to plan, organize multi-planet, multi-year, 400 bombings, 600 assaults on weapons depots, government facilities, electric companies, communication grids. I don't think she had the ability to orchestrate all of that. So was this really like an Ares plan? Like Darrow may have fallen, he may have failed, he's not going to be as successful as they hoped, and this is something they had as a backup? Or is this really just her way of fighting back now that Dancer's dead?
It's a good question. I don't really know. I think that she could have, if she's like Dancer's second in command,
Yep.
and Dancer is essentially Ares' second in command,
yeah.
on Mars. We don't know what Ares has going on other planets, and clearly there are other irons in the fire. But do I think it's unfeasible? No, I think she could do it. Because she would have all the connections. She would have she'd be tapped into all the weapons and everything. So kind of coordinating and logistically, I feel like she'd be able to pull this off. And would it shock me if there wasn't some
contingency plan
of Ares where if we need to sow chaos and mayhem, we have all these targets and here's where, but we're not going to use these. This is only if we need a huge distraction because we're pulling off something else. And that she just takes advantage of it and says, no, we're going live with
That's
this.
So that was she almost got fed too much information because Dancer is dead. And then this might have been a contingency or a backup or maybe a totally different timing they would have done this. And she's utilizing it now and being like, oh no, this is a go. So I was curious to get your take on that. So that.
Yeah, I think that's a good read. I think that's probably the case. If we had to have that information, that would make the most sense to me.
So that pretty much wraps up Chapter 9, The Darkness. For tight beams, Cullen, I threw this question out on socials, and we want to get into the responses a little bit, but I want to know your answer, which this was a lot of fun. I put it out on our Instagram and TikTok, and even just yesterday, some more people were chiming in. A two-person mission awaits. You cannot pick Darrow, Mustang, Victra, or Severo. Who do you pick to be your shadow? Watch your back. They watch yours, no matter what.
Well, I would pick you. My Dukes.
Well, thank you.
If you weren't available, I would probably pick. I would probably go with either Holiday Nakamura or Roan T. Flavinius.
Roan. Okay. That's the first time I've heard that one. I believe.
Roan, I mean, this is a spoiler if you haven't gotten to Lightbringer, but I mean, he comes pretty close to beating a full Iron Gold who's utilizing the Mind's Eye.
Yes. Yeah.
That's like a gold on steroids.
And not just almost beat, like basically was beating the shit out of him for a whole chapter. It's a long battle.
I don't know. I feel like one of those would be really good, and they'd be able to, like, you know, there's more flexibility in terms of whatever our mission is. If they've got to blend in, if they've got to be subtle,
exactly.
Like pick a Ragnar or Apollonius, like
Yeah,
they're
there's no
just
tactical mission that you're doing, but I didn't
you're just
specify, on the what kind of mission. I just kind of thought
yeah,
what
yeah,
people
yeah.
would go to. But so there was a
What
lot of
about
answers.
yourself? What about
So
yourself?
first and foremost, spoilers for anyone. The first one would be Alexander, right?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a
And
good
because
one. That's a good
I
one.
feel like he could kind of be a jack in the box, and I trust the character. Like again, you know my history. He reminds me of somebody very dear to me, and but we know what happens. Anyways, so the backup would be Thraxa, because I know if I was doing a mission, she is
Thraxa.
yeah, she's badass. She would completely demolish everything in the way, and I could probably just walk in behind her and then finish doing whatever the mission is while she takes care of everything else. I can just be lazy.
Just use her as a human wrecking ball.
Yes, exactly. But the majority of people did say Ragnar, and the tie for second was Ephraim and Cassius.
Ephraim would be good if he was
Yeah.
sober.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if he was cleaned up, and but he's
same
a
with
jack of all
Cassius.
trades.
Like he'd be good if he was sober.
Yeah. I loved La Rosa Studios. She said Orion because she can fly me out immediately if it's needed. She can immediately just
See, that's good thinking.
And everyone kind of had their own little reasons why, which was really cool. Exclaim Book said Lyria, which I have to admit I didn't consider at all. And I asked her Lyria with or without the parasite. And she said without. And
Really?
my argument would have been with. The extra abilities are almost worth the risk of, I don't even know what the parasite's story is going to be later on, but I would have said with.
I don't think we're ever going to go back to the parasite.
I don't think
Do you
either.
think that there's going to be something more about it? Because I think it's dead.
I feel like it kind of left the door open for some weird, like, I don't know, mystery stuff that gets tied in somehow. But I honestly, I agree. It's just going to be like, well, he doesn't think there's something there in the story. He's just going to, carry on without even mentioning it again. What is it all about? I wanted to know, but I don't think it'll be in there either in the last book.
I have a feeling it was to give Lyria a little bit of power and plot armor and kind of like make her unbeatable for a little while.
Yeah, and kind of give her a little equal footing, and then now we kind of have a love for her and what she can do, but now she's back to being this.
And it also gave us a way to reconnect with Quicksilver.
Yeah.
And like
and Mateo.
Like a path into that story.
That's a good point.
That then would tie it back to Severo finding out about what he finds out about.
Well, we call it
I don't
now.
know. I mean,
we call it now in early December. We'll see if it's in the last book. I'm going to say no. But I'd like to be wrong because I want to know where the hell it all came from. And if you don't know what we're talking about because you haven't gone that far, I think we've been pretty vague.
Books.
But yeah. So the Creator Corner section for this week, I wanted to mention Violet Clayworks. Congrats on your new website. That's amazing. It looks really cool. I've already been on there and I may have purchased something.
Oh boy.
So
what did you get?
I got the Institute mug, which looks awesome. I think the old cool looking style of it with the Institute. Did you buy one?
I bought a obsidian mug.
Yeah.
The one that has like the runes on it.
Yep.
And I got something that I think we talked about, but I got the Augustus box.
Oh.
The box with the lion on the lid.
Yeah. Like the crest.
And what I want to do is I'm going to take all of my accumulated stickers and whatnot, patches and all these things.
Hell yeah.
And we're going to load that box up with these. And,
yes.
And then we're going to raffle it off somehow to the listeners or people out there who might have an interest in it as a holiday package.
Add to that, I have a bracelet that I want to put into that from Peachy Violet, and then I have a drawing from Redhead Murphy that we can add to that. So
damn.
Yeah.
This is quickly becoming a very valuable prize.
Yeah, I think it'd be sweet. But
well, it's very cool. Violet Clay, like, awesome work. I can't
Hell
wait for
yes.
the obsidian mug to get in. It's
It
so cool
it
looking.
popped on, and then I went to look, and everything, all these howlers, all you rusters, everyone went online and immediately purchased her whole stock, which is so sweet. And that actually happened to Lehigh Glass last Friday as well. Everyone immediately went on, purchased their pieces, and
You're stealing my creative corner. Shout out.
well, sorry. Well, you can cut that part. You can cut that part. So, so again, I ordered something from Violet, which of course it's on back order, but I already saw she's immediately made a crap load of more mugs. If anyone, you guys haven't seen her work, you can find her on Instagram at Violet Clayworks, or her website is violetclayworks.square.site. I have to give a shout out to Beers the Mind Killer, KC, on Instagram, beersthemindkiller.etsy.com. All the stuff that he makes, t-shirts, stickers, wall art, 10% off from his store, Sons of Aries. If you use that promo code, you can get 10% off everything in his store. And I did also receive my Book and Box Co. little glass here with the Sons of Aries logo on it.
Oh, no way. That's sick.
So I did buy some sweatshirts and the Sons of Aries glass, like the rocks glass. And my girls immediately stole the sweatshirts and have been wearing them around like their dresses because they're huge on them. So I have to get them back at some point, make a picture and post it up on Instagram. So also a shout out for
idea.
Books and Box Co. for that, and for, of course, our logo, which is awesome.
Yep.
Now, Off Planet, I know I was cutting it late today, so we can discuss Off Planet another time. The only other thing I want to mention for this point is Quicksilver dealings. I just read up on the media side, sort of, that Netflix is about to acquire Warner Brothers for $82 billion. Now,
yes, it's all the talk.
So my question is, Warner Brothers is the parent company of HBO. When it comes to streaming services and their quality of work, I would put Netflix towards the bottom. Besides a couple standout series, like Stranger Things was cool. The first season of The Witcher, I was into, and then it kind of flopped. But HBO is the top dog, I believe, as far as series go. And then I guess Amazon a little bit. Apple.
Hulu has some.
Yeah, Hulu
hits on things randomly.
Yeah, but I feel like Netflix, they've had more duds, or they pull the plug way too early, and this scares me a little bit. I don't know how you feel about it. If Netflix is then the owners of HBO, how it's going to play out.
Well, I think it's probably not going to be a huge issue.
No.
In that, no, because I think Netflix, if they're smart, they know like HBO is its own entity, its own brand.
We're
not going to do anything with it. We just want to own the property. They can do whatever they want and continue to do it.
You're not going to think they're going to step in a little bit and be like, "Oh, here's some suggestions," and
I mean, it would be bad. It would be dumb for them to do that, because unless they are going to have HBO on Netflix,
no, they wouldn't. I don't think.
It wouldn't make. The only thing that would make sense is then if they have like a $75 membership per month that includes all Warner Brothers and all HBO and all of Netflix.
Yeah.
Like a bundled tier partnership or membership. If they don't, then it makes sense for them to just keep Netflix the way it is and keep HBO the way it is, and then they'll be making money from both. You have to have a membership for both.
Yeah.
So as far as the money goes, like, it makes more sense for them to let HBO
be a standalone.
HBO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And make them as like the top tier. Warner Brothers is huge. Like $82 billion, we know that's a lot of money, but they also have their own gaming division. They've made and sold some very high-profile games with millions of copies sold. So it's a big powerhouse. It doesn't include the Discovery portion. I think Warner Brothers and Discovery's separating, and then this is just Warner Brothers being bought. I won't. If I'm wrong on that, somebody correct me. But I believe they were separating, and it's just Warner Brothers being purchased. But again, it's not 100% finalized either, so we'll have to see.
And you're also right to be somewhat frightened because, like, sure, it makes no sense to you and I for HBO to be changed by Netflix, but I mean, these fucking media companies make some pretty dumb decisions.
Yes. I think of The Witcher, where you had Henry Cavill, who was just like, let's stick to the books, let's do this and follow it along, and then it kind of went off on their own. And I get it, you want to make your own story, but it's like, well, then make your own story. Don't take somebody else's work and then kind of move in your own stuff. It's like, well, then you're not going to appease anyone. You know, if you're staying true to a story, stay true to the story. If you want to create your own IP, then go have fun and then gain your own audience. Don't take a previous audience and then crap on their love. And short.
It's a quick way to make angry fans.
Yeah, you're not appeasing anyone. And as they found out, like, I don't think anyone's even watched the latest season. They didn't even announce it. They just kind of put it up as far as The Witcher.
Have you watched any of it?
I haven't. Since season 2, I stopped. The changes from that, and then I kind of fell off the map, which sucks. It's an awesome story. I tried reading the books. The books, of course, are translated, and there's a disconnect, but the games are phenomenal. And I loved, and all my knowledge is from the games, which, again, are different from the books a little bit.
The books were hard.
Yeah. I tried. My brother recommended it, Andy, and the translation, it's like short stories all jumbled together, and I fell out of reading it.
Yeah, the translation was tough.
But
yeah, I don't know. The Warner Brothers thing, I'm not... Honestly, it's all going to eventually be owned by one fucking company anyways, so...
What,
I'm
Tesla
just waiting
Media?
for them to... Yeah, I'm just waiting for them to say that, Netflix is now going to be $44 a month.
Yeah,
HBO is going to be $55 a month. And then you're basically spending $120 a month on subscription services when 10 years ago you were just spending $120 on your cable TV.
Yes.
So we're back to just having cable. And by the way, they all run commercials all the time now too. It's essentially, we're back to where we were 10 years ago.
Well, that made... I'm going to just take 2 seconds to talk about this. You told me to watch Weapons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The wife and I watched it last night. That was awful. It was god-awful. You told me to watch that. That movie sucked.
You didn't like it.
That movie was awful. At the beginning was cool.
You didn't like it at all?
It started off, I was like, this is an interesting premise. I kind of like it. It's kind of creepy. You got this weird little female clown that's popping up, doing little scare tactics. And then once they started explaining the story, it felt like a Stephen King starts off with a great premise and then just flops on its face. I didn't like it. My wife and I looked at each other and were like, Cullen sucks.
Wait, I didn't tell you to watch Weapons, did I?
Yeah, you did. Didn't you? You saw it when it first came out of theaters, didn't you?
I told you to watch Game Night.
No. This was weeks ago. You went out. I think you and the wifey went and saw it.
Oh, okay.
She didn't want to watch Game Night, and then there was another option, and then the Weapons popped up, and I'm like, ooh, there's this horror movie that I remember calling.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun horror movie. The scene where at the gas station and the guy comes running from across the...
He did have creepy eyes.
That was pretty good.
I thought his eyes were bulging out of his forehead. And how that cop just punched that dude for getting pricked with the knee. I'm like, well, I probably would have did the same if I asked you 4 times, you got a needle on you, and you say no, and then I get pricked. Anyways.
That's a tough look.
Yeah. So on that note, we'll wrap this up. I went over a little hour. I apologize. This is my mission of Chapter 9, The Darkness. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify, please rate and review. 5 stars, please, and thank you. Tell Cullen how bad his voice is.
Please.
If you haven't yet, check out our Instagram at Sons of Aries Pod on YouTube and TikTok. If you have any questions covering any chapters, topics, characters, a passage you wish to be discussed, or just a moment you love or loathe, and you would like Cullen to narrate it, maybe, send us a type beam through Instagram or our email, thesonsofAriespodcast@gmail.com. For now, we sign off. We are the sons of Ares for the rising.
Valete.